Good morning. Welcome to Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Steve Daniel. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm serving as your worship associate this morning. I'm joined by our worship leader, Reverend Chris Rothbauer, whose pronouns are they, them, their. We're excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning. We're so glad to have you with us today, whether it be joining us in person or virtually. Whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been coming here longer than you can remember. Here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and of no faith in particular. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome among us. As a community, we also welcome the sharing of joys, sorrows, and concerns. You're welcome to fill out a joys and sorrows slip on the table near the Welcome Center and on the Joys and Sorrows table here in front of the sanctuary, and or welcome to light a candle. This can be done at any time before service or during the service before the beginning of the offertory. So first I'm going to call up, before the call to worship, Alan Sproat. He has a couple of announcements, and then we have an update from the Investiture Committee. Installation.
Investiture sounds better, I don't know. Okay, so I know we've all noticed that it's a little chilly today, and I only have this t-shirt on, so they always tell you dress in layers. So, you know, what I could do is I could buy a t-shirt, and then I could put 2 t-shirts on, and then I'd be in layers. So make sure you go to Breeze, buy your t-shirt, go out into the hallway there, they've got them. You can get a form and fill it out. There's all kinds of ways you can get your t-shirts. Everybody get your Horizon t-shirts. Secondly, tomorrow morning we will start the bidding for the Horizon Events, Arts, and Talent auction. We're a little lean on auction items, so I don't know where my poker players are. We don't have a poker party yet. People who do crafts, this is a good way to get rid of some of the crafts that your spouse is saying, why are there so many of these all over the house? Just give some thought to what you might want to donate. Send me an email. You can find me on Breeze, or you can also look at the page on the bulletin board outside. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Carolyn Moore, and my pronouns are she, her. Today, I'm representing the installation team and wanted to give you some, but it works. I wanted to give you some more information about our installation celebration event the weekend of March 8th through 10th. Over its 37-year history, the Horizon congregation has grieved together and celebrated together. We've had rituals such as weddings, funerals, memorials, the passing of the seasons, blessing of children and backpacks, and many more. On March 10th, we will have one of our grander rituals and celebrate a special day in our history. That date will mark only the 3rd time that Horizon has installed a settled minister. To provide a bit more context about an installation ceremony is the congregational act of formally entering into shared ministry with a chosen professional minister. This service celebrates the covenantal relationship between the minister and the congregation that is called the minister. That's us. It's about more than the match between an individual and the congregation. It's an opportunity to affirm our covenant to work together to create beloved community. The installation isn't something the congregation does for the minister. Rather, it honors and celebrates the promises we're making to one another as we weave our shared ministry. We've had installations before with our first and second settled ministers, Reverend Dennis Hamilton and Reverend Laura Brandis. In speaking with Reverend Dennis yesterday about his recollection of his installation, he said to remind everyone that the installation is important and represents a sacred pact between the congregation and the settled minister. He also sent his best wishes to everyone here at Horizon. Reverend Laura lived in this area and had attended First UU, so most of those who attended and officiated her installation were also local. This time, I have to take a deep breath because there's a lot. This time we have guests coming from all over. Alex Capitan from Greenfield, Massachusetts, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt from Boston, Massachusetts, Reverend Duncan Teague from Atlanta, Georgia, Reverend Nell Newton from San Antonio, Reverend Julie Conradi from Birmingham, Alabama, Reverend Dennis McCarty from Columbus, Indiana, Reverend Misha Sanders from Sandy Springs, Georgia, and last but certainly not least, Reverend Dr. Aya Dulm from Plano. It's common practice for the church to pick up most of the cost for the ministerial and officiating guests, hence a budget and our fundraising. Two of these folks who are coming are self-paying. One is staying with family, and two are driving, all of which helps with expenses. Additionally, Reverend Chris's chosen family will be here to celebrate with us. Horizon and Reverend Chris are well known and respected throughout the UU community, and it means a lot that all these folks are coming to witness, participate in, and celebrate with us. Horizon is the second largest UU church in this area. This is a chance for us to show what Horizon means to us and to the community and roll out the welcome mat. So, 1, please make plans to join us at the installation service and reception on Sunday, March 10th at 3 o'clock. 2, join us at the Peter Mayer fundraising concert on Friday, March 8th at 7 p.m. Tickets are available, or talk to Reverend Chris. 3, you can directly donate to the installation through Breeze or during the offertory. Just put a check or cash in the envelope on the back of the chairs and put your name in the front and label it it's for the installation and put it in the basket as it goes by. 4, please sign up to volunteer. And last but not least, if you have any questions about the installation, come talk to one of us. The installation team, me, Helena Yulikovich, somewhere, Saj Survey, and Joel Woyton. We've been planning for several months. We're just not on top of everything, so it's been kind of under the wraps, but now it's the last minute stuff. And now it's getting exciting. And I don't mean it was under the wraps on purpose. It was just we were quietly working away. Please make plans to join us for this wonderful event. Thank you.
One final note, if you would like to come see Peter Mayer on March 9th and you don't think you can afford a ticket, some of your fellow Horizon members have been very generous. I have free tickets available. All you need to do is see me. I will not even ask you why you need it. I will just give you one. So please come see me if you need a free ticket. Our call to worship this morning is from David Breeden. Welcome to this place where equity and justice transcend mere dreams, where they are the air we breathe. Enter the sanctuary, all who yearn for respite from a world rife with scarcity and inequity, rife with relentlessness, shackles of privilege and bias. Come embrace this space, be embraced by this place, this refuge where scarcity and disparity dissolve into we together, crafting a place where the breath of life is equity and justice, cherished, manifested, sustained.
Our chalice lighting this morning is from Rebecca Savage. We light our flaming chalice as a beloved people united in love and thirsting for restorative justice. May it melt away the tethers that uphold whiteness in our midst. May it spark in us a spirit of humility. May it ignite in us radical love that transforms our energy into purposeful action. This is a chalice of audacious hope. This chalice shines a light on our shared past, signaling our intention to listen deeply, reflect wisely, and to move boldly toward our highest ideals. Please join me in our affirmation, which is printed on the back of your order of service and also projecting on the screen. Love is the doctrine of our church. The quest for truth is a sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth, thus do we covenant together. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 121 in the gray hymnal, We'll Build a Land.
Hi, I'm Alex. If you've brought donations for MetroCrest, please pass them down to the end of the aisle, and our children will collect them and put them in the basket up here. At this time, I would like to invite all our young people and young at heart down to the front for a time for all ages. I have a surprise today. Let's take a look and see what's behind the stool. All right. Oh. It's a toolkit. It's my toolbox of faith. This represents the Unitarian Universalism I carry in my heart. Each piece in the box shows me how I can use Unitarian Universalism in my life when I face challenges. Let's see. Like a magnifying glass, which reminds me to stay curious and keep asking questions. Let's see, what else do I have in here? like this duct tape, which is a good reminder to stay flexible. And here is a level. It reminds me to restore the balance with another person after we've broken our covenant, or after we've had a disagreement, or after I've made a mistake and hurt someone. Here's another one. It's a flashlight. I wonder what it could do. What do you think? Okay, go ahead. That's excellent. Shine light in the darkness. What do you got? That is true. Can help you find things when the lights are off. Anybody else? Sure. Help you see in the dark. That's fantastic. The flashlight represents our sense of justice, and it is like the light of truth. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that will help you find your truth and shines the light on the world, on the truth of the world. Just like a flashlight can reveal things in the shadows you might not be able to see, Unitarian Universalism exposes injustices that may be hidden from view. It illuminates issues like unfair treatment, discrimination, or people being treated poorly because of their race, gender, or background. For example, if we see someone being treated unfairly because of their skin color, Unitarian Universalism helps us recognize that injustice and understand that it's not okay. It inspires us to stand up for what's right and work towards creating a world where everyone is treated fairly and with respect. Justice is one of our UU values, and our second principle states that Unitarian Universalism upholds justice, compassion, and equity in human relations. The seventh Unitarian Universalist principle and the value named interdependence affirms that we are all the strands of the web are connected. When one part of that web suffers injustice, the entire web suffers injustice. When we shine the light of truth on our injustices in our interconnected web, it's like uncovering hidden secrets or shining a spotlight on things that aren't fair. It helps us see what's wrong in the world and understand why it's important to work towards making things right. I hope you'll use your flashlight. This is Unitarian Universalism in your life to become a champion for fairness and justice, lighting up the dark spots in our world to make the future better and more just for everyone. Now we'll sing you off to class. Thank you.
The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts, freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. Thank you to our members and friends who give and to pledge electronically. If you would like to give electronically, you may do so on the Breeze app or online at horizonuu.org/donate. The offering will now be joyfully given and received. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, Elliot. That was lovely. Our first reading this morning is from Timothy Snyder. Life is political, not because the world cares about how you feel, but because the world reacts to what you do. The minor choices we make are themselves a kind of vote, making it more or less likely that free and fair elections will be held in the future. In the politics of the everyday, our words and gestures, or their absence, count very much. The symbols of today enable the reality of tomorrow.
I am a Unitarian Universalist minister, and I am exceptionally political. Now, I bet there's at least a few of you out there that bristled at that statement. It's a sentiment I'm getting used to because in today's polarized world, the word political has come to have an exceptionally narrow definition. The political, in the minds of much popular opinion, has to do with voting and legislation and the constant fighting between political parties in Washington, D.C. and Austin and in local governments in our own backyards. The operations of these institutions and the actions of individual people to influence them are what's political, or so it's said. The fear then is that I, as a minister, would jeopardize our tax-exempt status by endorsing one political party over another, something that is forbidden by the IRS's 501c3 program. And as I understand it, I would be exceptionally wrong to do this. Though I could endorse a candidate as a private citizen, I cannot endorse one as a Unitarian Universalist minister. But that's not why I'm here today. In fact, if I'm being honest, I have problems with both of the major party candidates that are likely to be running for president this November. And I certainly have my opinions, as do we all, and I won't be talking about them today. So it seems like any time I bring out that word political in the pulpit, I have work to do to convince people that's not what I'm trying to do. This, to me, is what I consider to be partisan rather than merely political. And as someone with a deep appreciation of the separation of church and state, I'm not trying to do so. Yet it's so engraved into us that the political and the partisan cannot be separated, that I have had people still accuse me of being partisan even after I explicitly say I'm not partisan and I'm not going to endorse a candidate. I'm a great believer, though, in the words of the second wave feminists who were active first in the 1960s, when they declared that the personal is political. Activists use this phrase to emphasize that the political doesn't just happen in Washington or in Austin. For second wave feminists, the political was right at home, in the very structure of the nuclear family, and in the values women were expected to live up to. Every time a man in power left his wife at home to deal with domestic matters like housekeeping and child raising with little interest in how happy her life was, he was enacting the political, reinforcing a system that ranked housewives as second-rate citizens whom we need not worry much about, because what does she have to worry about? She was getting meals. You laugh uncomfortably, but that's the way many people felt and still feel in conservative circles today. The personal is political, then, was a rallying cry to look to the fodder of injustice in the home rather than the legislative halls of our country. In fact, many second-wave feminists felt like the constant infighting in our nation and state capitals were a distraction. Rather than seeing the political as something out there, transcendent in theological terms, it is immanent among us right here this morning and are affecting our lives in ways we can scarcely detect at times, regardless of which political party is in power, or whose legislation is being advanced, or what Supreme Court case is making its way to reshaping the political landscape. The political, then, as I learned years ago in my political philosophy class, is about systems of power and human interaction. Even if our political landscape changed tomorrow, whether for the better or for the worse, the political would still exist, because everything we do is political. How we spend our money, what books we read, the sorts of things we do in everyday life, they all matter because they all shape who we are and how our community is going to be. We constantly shape the world we live in. And though it is true that the political is more than the actions of any one person, and simply changing our actions isn't enough, it's a start. To quote Timothy Snyder from our first reading, life is political not because the world cares about how you feel, but because the world reacts to what you do. The minor choices we make are themselves a kind of vote, making it more or less likely that free and fair elections will be held in the future. This is something I'm deeply aware of as a person both in Texas and who has never served a Unitarian Universalist congregation in a progressive area. Merely the act of being myself in public is a political statement. If I decide to hold my partner's hand about 50 miles west of here, will it enrage someone so much that they decide to do something about it? If I wear my gender expression too feminine, will I be the subject of harassment or ridicule because the person reads me as a man? If I insist that people use my correct pronouns or merely for the right to tell you what they are, will I be labeled a special snowflake and told I'm too sensitive? That I need to grow a spine? And worst of all, will I be accused of friends, colleagues, parishioners of only caring about LGBTQIA+ issues simply for being myself and insisting on my own dignity? For the record, this hasn't happened to me at Horizon, but it has happened to me, so it's not theoretical. This is only one example drawn from one of many intersecting identities. I could have talked about my disability identity and the struggles I have as an invisibly disabled person to take medicine or medical equipment on planes or through border crossings. When I went to Mexico back in November, I had to make sure I had all my prescriptions on me at all times. Or my identity as a person who has been a consumer of the mental health system and my struggle to get doctors to take me seriously as a result. Or my size as a fat person and how we sometimes die because we're not given proper medical care. Or the scarcity mentality I sometimes have to fight because I grew up poor. Now, each of you could also do this exercise, and I encourage you to do it, hopefully with someone who can hug you in the end, because it brings a lot of stuff to the surface, because no one is just privileged and no one is just oppressed. We all have intersecting identities that shape how we are political in the world. You too probably have to navigate the system in ways that may be similar or different than me. Here's what I know though. Every time I choose to move into a space with my authentic self, I'm being political because I'm shaping the world for what it could be. A place where we all have the opportunity to live lives of dignity, lives of authenticity. It doesn't matter who I vote for. Well, it does, but that's beyond the point. My actions shape the world, whether for good or ill, and either reinforce or challenge systems of power. So no, the political isn't just what happens in Washington or Austin. It's what happens in my life and yours every day after day, in homes, in schools, and yes, churches all across the country. And this is the essence of justice, to struggle together, to find ways for all of us to live authentic lives of dignity, not just a few. We now take time to honor the sorrows and joys of this community, knowing that we are all interconnected, and what affects one affects us all. Joanna Kroenke shares a joy that she had an emerging surgery 2 weeks ago, but is healing and recovering well. A huge thank you to anyone who helped us and kept us in your hearts as we went through this. And a joy from Michael celebrating the joy of Madeira's birthday yesterday. And we light a candle this morning to honor all of those joys and sorrows which have gone unspoken and reside only in our hearts. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation in whatever way feels right with these words from Tess Baumberger. After the reading, we'll have a space of silence, which will be broken by our responsive hymn, number 391 in the gray hymnal, Voice Still and Small. Let us make this earth a heaven right here, right now. Who knows what existence's death will bring? Let us create a heaven here on earth, where love and truth and justice reign. Let us welcome all at our pearly gates, our freedom table, amid singing and great rejoicing. Black and white, native and Asian, and all our lovely colors. Straight, lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer questioning. Cisgender, transgendered, non-binary, gender non-conforming. Healthy, sick, hurting, variously abled, young, old, gentle, cranky, joyous, sorrowing. Let no one feel excluded. Let no one feel alone. May all have enough power to meet their needs. May all share power generously. May all venerate the earth, our mother, and tend her with wisdom and compassion. May we make our earth an Eden, a paradise. May no one wish to leave her. May hate, violence, and warfare cease to clash in causes too old and tired to name: religion, nationalism, racism, the false god of gold, deep-rooted ethnic hatreds. May these all disperse and wane. May we see each other's true selves. May we all dwell together in peace and joy and understanding. Let us make a heaven here on earth before it's too late. Let us make this earth a heaven for each other's sake. Blessed be.
Our second reading this morning is from Forrest Gilmore. In the first episode of Called the Midwife, a British show about post-World War II midwives, the main character, Jenny Worth, is just starting out as a midwife in the East End of London. She experiences a moment of disgust and overwhelm at witnessing the awful experience of one of her expectant mothers. She apologizes later to the nun she works with, saying, quote, "I'm sorry, I didn't know people lived like this," end quote. Sister Julianne replies, "But they do, and that's why we're here." This line really moved me, perhaps because the most important thing I've learned from people in poverty is that what they are experiencing is real, no matter what my own personal feelings are about it, whether it's right or wrong, whether it should be or shouldn't be. Their experiences don't simply go away because I don't want those experiences to be there. Their lives are real, and so before anything else, before solutions or judgments or disgust or even overwhelm, is the simple, gentle call to witness cleanly and openly as to what is real. The only word I have for this is love. To me, this is a tribute to all the people throughout the ages who have witnessed the horrors and hardships of humanity, and rather than turn away, judge, or fix, simply begin with, "But they do, and that's why we're here."
We walk in love, united in purpose. We join our hands and lift up one voice. We speak the truth with strength and compassion, resounding with hope, with courage and joy. We cry for peace and rise for all people. We welcome friends from far and near. We fight for those whose voices are silenced, resisting in faith until all are free. We dream a world of justice and kindness. We build a bridge, creating new paths. We march with joy as all walk together, embracing each one. We boldly stand.
I largely became a Unitarian Universalist because of our long history of justice work. I'd long admired Unitarian Universalist contributions to building beloved community, making the world a better place for everyone to live. As a queer person who is finally coming to accept my identity and find some comfort in it, it was hard for me to imagine choosing a religious path that would ask me to deny myself, to go back in the closet, or at the very least, to separate who I was from where I worshiped. I'd been in that damned closet for too long, that I'd felt a bit claustrophobic and I wanted nothing more to do with it. So I've always a little baffled when Unitarian Universalists tell me we've gotten too political, that they came to church to be comforted or develop spirituality, not to hear about politics, by which they mean justice and the need for it. It's happened so often, I've lost track of the count. The message is clear. The church is there to cater to the needs and desires in that moment, not to make them uncomfortable in any way or call them to action. They're not wrong. Pastoral sermons are a part of being a Unitarian Universalist minister as well, and you're going to hear me preach plenty of those. But what I've come to realize over the years is that what's challenging for one person may be comforting for another. In fact, I've preached the same sermon before and had some people say it was so comforting and others say that was too damn challenging. To me, hearing a justice sermon of people dedicating themselves to building beloved community is deeply comforting. I want to live in a world where who I am is affirmed, not where I have to fear for my life or livelihood. To me, that is the most pastoral you can get, challenging everyone there to make sure everyone gets what they need in order to not just survive in this world, but thrive. What I've come to realize is that many people come to Unitarian Universalism to be comforted. But if the personal is political, then our spiritual choices are also deeply political, even when we're being pastoral. And they will have implications for where we put our energy. If spirituality is the way we make meaning of the world, then making the world a better place, either for us or for the larger interdependent web, is both political and spiritual. Let me explain a little more what I mean. Each religious tradition has certain beliefs or values about humanity and the larger world. Some religious traditions place more value on some people than others. For instance, the Indian caste system or pre-Civil War justifications for slavery make it clear that some people's lives are more valuable than others. In these cases, if the person is political, then faith would call people who believe this to take care of themselves, to make the world a better place for only them and people like them, to be selfish. This, of course, is a very fractured view of the possibility of justice and one that divides people against one another. But I don't believe that. I believe we're all benefited when everyone has what they need. As the great Russian political theorist Peter Kropotkin once said, practicing mutual aid is the surest way for giving each other and to all the greatest safety, the best guarantee of existence and progress, bodily, intellectually, and moral under any circumstances. Sociability is the greatest advantage in the struggle for life, he said. And he was writing this at the same time Herbert Spencer was saying it's all for ourselves in a great, great error of interpreting Darwin's theory of evolution. In other words, as the old hymn says, we need each other to survive. People don't live on islands, even if we do live on an island. We live on vast interconnected webs of mutuality that need constant tending. If this is a case, then a religion that speaks to oppression rather than equity is one that is irrelevant to our society. The spiritual is political because we don't just make meaning in isolation, but in community with other humans, as we each figure out what it means to be human together. This is not to say that many, if not all of us, don't need time alone at one time or another. There's a reason I take days off. No offense to anybody, but you all should. But it does mean that my ability to realize my full potential is tied up in yours, and vice versa. It's a take on the words of Maya Angelou: none of us can be free until everybody is free. This coming June, delegates to the Unitarian Universalist Association's General Assembly will decide whether to replace the 7 principles currently in the UUA's bylaws with 7 values that define our movement and our way of being religious. Included are the twin values of justice and equity. If it passes, and I think it will be an affirmation that spirituality for us means working until everybody gets free. Yes, we need to do inner spiritual work, and many, many spiritual teachers have taught how this is a prerequisite to justice work. But as these religious gurus have affirmed for centuries, a religious person is one who has an inner transformation that is made manifest by their willingness to go into the world and help others. This is why we think of the exemplars of religious traditions to be the Mother Teresas, the Mahatma Gandhis, the Thich Nhat Hanhs, the people willing to go out and help others, not because they had to, but because their inner conviction tells them they must. You will not find on those lists televangelists. My justice work and my faith cannot be separated because they inform one another, because the political is always present, and I must be willing to face this world of inequality and suffering and my complicity in it to make sure that all will someday be free. This is my challenge to you this morning. What is your role in justice making? How are you living as if the spiritual is political? In a few weeks, we'll talk about the different ways people can work towards justice. So if your comment you were planning on coming up to me after the service was, "I just don't have time for justice," make sure you're here in 2 weeks. It isn't all just the organizer on the front lines, after all. In the meantime, I want you to see what we do in these walls every single week as deeply political, because so many people have come here to be comforted from a world that sees them as less than. Because even a pastoral sermon is one that is declaring that the world should be, that this world should be, one where each of us can find comfort in the midst of chaos. And may we ever be the church that sees justice making as central to our values. May it be so.
We extinguish this flame, but not our commitment to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. This we do because we envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world. I would like to invite you to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 168 in the gray hymnal, "One More Step."
One more
Our benediction is by Jen Grayson. May we go forward from this gathering ready to commit again to sharing the gift of justice and equity with this hurting world. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.